When I was a kid, I was getting close to becoming a teenager. We'd go visit my grandpa and grandma, Redden, over in Gallatin County. That's Verona, Kentucky. 1967, he bought a house over there on a dead-end road. And when we go over to visit, I always noticed his garage windows, the windows of his garage. Inside of his garage, he had these real thick curtains. And I was really a little too young to understand what that was for. Well, I would soon find out. My grandpa, this is back in the 1970's, and I remember him doing this two times. He would literally take out the odometer, which is a federal offense. He would take out the odometer. He rigged up a little motor. And what this motor did, it would slowly rotate the mileage all the way forward. It would come back again and create low miles. So it took 2 weeks. And he had this little wood platform with wheels. Now his desk or his workbench in the garage was real deep. I always wondered why it was so deep. What he would do, he would put that odometer that he took out of the car, and he would hook it to this motor. Then he would slide the whole thing under his workstation. And one time my dad seen it, and my dad wrote it out. "What is this, Dad?" My dad was asking my grandpa, and that's when he told us. And so the thick windows was to outsmart the FBI, and it worked. He was never caught. What he would do after 2 weeks, he would wheel out the little, like a wooden bench or a flat wood platform. He would pull it out, his deep workbench. It was on the ground, on the concrete floor, I should say. He would pull it out, unhook it from the slow-moving motor, and why he was slow, and he never go backwards. You go forward. He did that so it would not screw up the tumblers. It was analog. And my dad didn't understand that. He said, "Don't mess with it." He said, "It's supposed to." My dad said, "Why don't you go backwards to be faster?" He said, No. You got to go forward because it leaves less evidence. Here's the FBI. They go through training. And yet my grandpa Redden was smarter. He probably knew more about the law than the FBI did. In my grandpa's eyes, the FBI was green behind the ears. He knew all about warrants. He knew about line of sight, what they could do and what they couldn't do. And he was so smart. Even if he'd been arrested, he would have got out of it. He would have been smart enough to find a loophole where they screwed up, and he would have got out of it, and he would have embarrassed the FBI. They would have turned red in the face. He was that smart. My grandpa was retired from Ford Motor Company. He thought it was funny. He didn't care. And he would, after 2 weeks, he would take the odometer, detach it from the motor, put it back in the car, take it to a dealership, and you get more for the trade-in value. When the dealership would look at the low mileage, it gave him more money on the trade-in value. And he did that twice. He didn't care about any breaking the law. He loved the challenge, and he was never caught. Think how many people does that and is never caught. And he lived in a perfect place for it, on a dead end. Interstate 71 is about 300 feet behind his house. in the backyard, and his yard went downhill a little bit. But I never will forget that. He just he just didn't give a damn. Even if he'd been caught, he was smart, and you did not mess with him. There's one guy that I know of, not because he's my grandpa. He was one guy that I remember very well. You did not mess with him because he could outsmart you. He would embarrass you. He was just that. He just naturally gifted, naturally smart. He knew more about the law than the law did. And he never went to training. He didn't have to. He was already up here. Yeah, I remember him doing it twice. I don't know if he did it the third or fourth time, but I was over there when he's getting ready to take a car to for a trade-in value. 2 times, I remember. Yeah, it took 2 weeks. Took 2 weeks to run an analog counter forward. It would be high mileage in 2 weeks. Take it out, be low mileage. Put it back in the car, take it to the dealership, and when they'd see low mileage, oh, he got much bigger value in trade-in. Yeah, my grandpa broke the law. He just didn't give a shit. That's the way it was back in my days. It ain't like it is today, all henpecked. Now, I'm not saying go out here and break the law. That's not what I'm saying. But I see my grandpa do it twice. And he never was caught.